Family, so I thought I'd talk about some changes I've noticed in myself and some positive benefits that I've gotten from Islam and some feelings, just some general ideas. Um, the first off, I'd like to say that in the past, I would I went a couple times to go dancing, and I dressed just really too provocative, and then I went outside of the club, and then there was girls there, and they're like trying to start something, right? And that was like 10 years ago, right? And even though I've been super good, but ever since I started learning about Mufti Menk and Islam, uh, before I felt in the past like I was holding on to sin, like, well, the option is still there. But now it feels like I let it go. It feels like I'm no longer holding on to the tail of a dog that will turn around and bite my hand, but I still kept holding on to it. Like now I've let go, and it doesn't feel like I'm missing out on something. Like when you're young in America, I feel like we're programmed to be like, you're attractive, you're young, you have a nice body. Go out and let make everyone look at you, right? Peacock, we call it peacocking. Show your feathers. But now it's like I don't want the male gaze necessarily. I'm starting to not care. Not that I don't take care of myself. What I mean is that I don't desire to constantly have the male gaze. Because the male gaze is like a burden. Like constantly throughout my life, I was brainwashed and programmed into solely desiring the male gaze and to be a slave to it and do whatever it is to get that attention. But now it feels like I'm becoming free. Now, now I have to give credit to the other side of the argument. Others, they say, oh, well, I grew up in Islam. I feel like I'm oppressed. I want to show my body and show these things, so I feel liberated. But with me, it's the opposite. With me, it's like I've grown up in a just so much sex in my culture that it's like overwhelming when you start to break free from it. And you no longer desire to constantly have men look at you and to be kind of like not dependent upon what they think, right? So it just feels like just a peeling off of just like, oh, just like, oh, I don't really want to focus on it. I just want to update my consciousness and learn about myself and self reflect and grow. And the sex programming is like coming out. It's really hard to describe to people who haven't gone through it. But it feels good. It feels like freedom. It feels like a stillness in my soul. And I've gone through a lot of phases in my life, right? I've gone through the angry atheist phase. I've gone through the whole Christian growing up, but none of this, none of it like grabbed my soul and made me calm down. But Islam and having an excellent internet dad like Mufti Menk has helped because, for example, I've been tested, okay, and I'm gonna give you an example to prove how I've been tested. And others might get mad at this, but there's plenty of women in my shoes who are being told that the temptations of lust are positive and should be condoned, uh, because commodification in a capitalist society, everything's commodified. Sex is a commodity in our culture. Sex is used to sell milk, it's used to sell shoes, it's used to sell everything. So I need to give real examples to other women so that they can see that how they're being tricked. So people might say I'm embarrassing myself, but I'm not, because to deprogram yourself, you have to know when you're being programmed. Okay, so for example, I was tested by somebody who is extremely attractive, and this person was so attractive, I almost thought I couldn't say no, right? Because there's a pull there that they're so attractive. But then I started thinking to myself, what would Mufti Menk say if he saw me do this? And this person invited me to participate in a threesome. And I was like, no, I'm not into that. I'm sorry. You're going to have to find someone else for that. Uh, thanks but no thanks, and then I just left. I won't reveal too much because I don't want to cause drama. But this is a very popular thing in our culture now. In our culture in America, swingers, wife swapping, husband swapping, orgies, um, things like that are coming up in the culture now, and it's being promoted as powerful, as good. And I thought in my heart when I was resisting, it was a powerful urge. I was like, ugh, don't fight, don't give into the programming, don't. And I thought, like, what am I doing to make this person be attracted to me in that way? But the truth is, if I was wearing a garbage bag, that person has that kind of mind. They're gonna ask somebody else after me. So it's really nothing to do with me. It has to do with what that person desires. And this has been a common theme. And I was proud of myself that I was able to resist. Then there was another example. Because you might think, well, I've never had someone approach me like that. Therefore, how is that normal? But this is a normal thing in our culture. Remember, we got an app in our culture called Tinder, where you literally go on Tinder, someone swipes hard, you can connect with them, and you can hook up with them the same day if you wanted. So understand that the American culture, sex and prostitution and pornography are just everywhere. So understand what I mean when I'm like, I'm around these kind of people, until I can move somewhere else where that's not around. But because of the globalization of the world, that disease of lust will spread. So, for example, uh, a guy who thinks he's all that, who has money, when I thought this person was my friend, and then they had shown me like they weren't. And the way they showed me was, they said, how much will it cost? And I was like, what are you talking about? How much it'll cost? How much? And they were basically asking how much would it be for me to sleep with them? How much money would they have to pay me? Because remember, less than 15 minutes away from me, there's plenty of strip clubs. So, and there's open prostitution 10 minutes away from me, where you can find women at night walking around by the apartment building. So understand that because sex is a commodity in our culture and so many women find it empowering and complimentary, certain men think that all women want that, or at least attractive, fit women want that, or whatever. And of course I said no, and I would have never said yes, even if I hadn't come familiar with Islam or Mufti Menk. But the point is that I felt some strength in my soul that I haven't felt before, where I was like, that's wrong. That's not okay. I don't want to participate in that. That's not going to add to my soul. And I would be embarrassed on Judgment Day if that happened. Now, before, it would have been easier for me to have been tricked. It would have been easier for me to be brainwashed. I've been really good my whole life resisting temptations like that, but they've been coming out more now. And I don't know if that's just a test from the Creator, but I also think it's a test, but I also think it has to do with our culture. So I'm very proud of that, because my father, like I said, he never ever told me what kind of man you should look for, how you need to be, when to say no to a man, what kind of man should there be in the world, because he himself cheated on women and I saw it. And I don't mean to slam my dad, because people see that as a sin, but I'm explaining why my vision of men in the past was so distorted, and why someone like an elder, we would call someone an elder or a wise man or a sage, a teacher, like Mufti Man, can help women like me know what we're supposed to do. So Islam has given me this inner peace that is like, I don't need the male gaze. I don't need it. I'll take care of myself like always, right? I'm still going to do my fitness. I'm still going to, do all the stuff I got to do. But what I mean to say is that Islam has just helped me be able to let go of that. And I understand that the flip side, some women might say, well, I grew up in Islam. I see a woman in America in a bikini in Miami, drinking a cocktail, getting her feet rubbed by some hot guy on the beach. That to me is freedom. That to me is liberty. But what I'd say is that there's a dark side to that. There's a dark side to the male gaze. And, oh man, I'm happy. I've never felt that before. I don't know, it's just something that just feels really, really good. And I don't want it to stop. And I think it's only going to intensify. It's like Islam has helped me get my independence back. And so many people will think like, no, it's only oppressive towards women because it takes away your sexuality. And I think, no, actually, it makes you more of like a pharaoh. It makes you more noble because it's allowing you to control your sexuality and put it how you want it and to put it behind a shield of virtue and chastity and chasteness. And people keep saying that pornography is great, that prostitution is great, but I'm thinking like, no, it's just too much. It's just everywhere. I mean, it's gotten so extreme now that there's public conversations, about pedophilia, about teaching young children as age of 6 how to pleasure themselves, right? It's literally just getting so crazy now. I mean, on social media, on Twitter, you'll see things that are just like insane where you're like, how is that allowed to be up there? It's promoting harmful things. Like, freedom of speech is important, but when you're promoting too much sex, it's just so extreme. And I'm the product of that life. Like, I'm the product of a woman being so free and a man being so free and participating in extreme forms of lust gratification that it doesn't lead to a happy home. And Islam has helped me like regain my power. It just feels like a recharging, like something is going back inside of me, something's growing inside of me. It's like, it feels like I don't need that you can be a woman of virtue, and it's good, because in my culture we want to deny it. There's so much sugarcoating around it, but it's just like extreme, and so many women are just so into it, and I'm not. And I'm so thankful to Islam for giving me that. If I have to stop this video, family, weirdly abruptly, it's because I'm expecting the guy to come and fix my heater. So if he knocks on the door and I have to click off, that's why. But anyways, that's one feeling that I've gotten from Islam, and I'm so thankful because I'm ready to let it go. Like, I'm ready to let the sex programming go. And we don't I just can't explain it. It's like such a feeling that almost can't even be put into words yet. Maybe I'll be able to describe it more as we grow together and like we learn, like with all of you and all of that. But it is important, and the camera's going blurry and I don't know why. But wow, family, it's just amazing. I'm so thankful. And like now it's just changing me where I don't desire to show it all. And that doesn't mean I judge someone when everything's hanging out, right? No. They've become like invisible. I no longer have to look at it, right? And it just feels good. I don't know if other women have experienced this who've like been American converts, right? Like, I haven't fully converted yet, but I'm saying that this pathway, it's so much freedom, because before, like, it just feels like I was a slave to lust, to passion, slave to the male gaze. But now it just feels like there's like a peeling of like, I don't need it. I can resist temptation. I can resist lust. I have the power to resist it. I have the power. And I'm not gonna let myself fall to temptation. Like, I feel like I have more tools in my tool belt that are gonna help me, like, not fall for temptation. I hope that doesn't go away. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to that world. It's such a dark world. Family, like, this is gonna be revealing, but I saw my first pornographic film when I was 11. And it's like, I'm not talking like pornography like there's like a Shakespearean fancy queen and like a princess or a queen who sleeps with a king and it's like you don't see anything. No, I'm talking about the real deal. And in my culture they promote it as positive, but it programs your brain in this horrible way where you don't even know what right from wrong in certain cases. You're programmed to be a tool. And the more people are waking up to that, more people are waking up to wanting to let go of their sin, to want to be pure, to want to be virtuous, to glorify in what is virtuous, to love what is good. And Islam is helping me with that. It's like a medicine. But yeah, I remember the man said that one time. He said, it was something along the lines of like, it's your medicine, you need to give yourself medicine, you need to listen to the lectures because it's like medicine and it's true. But I'm feeling more powerful to resist temptation, and I'm very thankful for that. I don't know if other people have experienced that, but it feels good. It feels really good. There's just too much sex everywhere. It's everywhere. You can't escape it. And it's sad because it's like, it makes you think that's normal. It makes you think like this is the way life is. If you don't like it, there's something wrong with you. You have to give in. But no, you don't. You don't have to give in. You can resist. Maybe that's why they don't want it spreading to the US. I don't know. That's the conspiracy realm, right? But man, I feel like I'm getting stronger and stronger. Like I'm downloading more information to where I'm breaking free of the chains of lust. And my mind is becoming so much different. Like before I might see like a super like handsome man with like big muscles and I might think something, but now I'm just like, bleh, what do you want? Get away from me. Not like I'm judging them, but I mean like my mind is preoccupied with something else, something bigger. It's like it's focused on better things. It's a blessing. I'm so thankful. This is meant to be. It has to be meant to be. And that's beautiful because it means that that God hasn't given up on me. It's beautiful. Take care, family.